Here we go. Strap in, boys and girls. Piece of heart to start the day. All right.
Got that nice gloomy atmosphere for the outside.
Looks like most of our runners opting for the standard opening. We're going to go to Link's house, get the piece of heart. 3 of our runners opting to go ahead and check. Oh, no, 2 of our runners opting to go ahead and check Uncle. Looks like Barry Bonds is actually going to check out the southern route into Kakariko.
Yeah, and looks like Sanctuary just holding some arrows tonight.
Barry Bonds doing the blind check of the race. Only a piece of heart right there. Just a little bit of love. And was that a sword that our uncle had?
Yep, we just got ourselves an early sword from good old Uncle. So, vanilla sword.
Wait, I thought this was randomized. Cross going to go ahead and grab his arrows. We got Barry going to the back of the tavern. Going to find a Dorito. There's 1 down, 29 to go.
Getting a check in the good old bomb hut as well.
Oh, and those Helmosaurs giving Aaron a bit of trouble there. Those things look like they hurt.
Oh, small key in the lumberjack cave. We'll see if that becomes important later.
See, it looks like we got Aaron going up top. Is going to take a walk in the woods. Check those 2 item locations. Let's see what we would have found where we'd normally find a mushroom. There's a full heart. He's probably going to go ahead and grab that. Yep. Always good to have a little bit of safety, especially this early, because these enemies can sure hurt.
Barry Bonds jumping down the well. Let's see what treasures that place holds. Eastern Palace map.
Aaron finding just another little piece of love, but those little pieces do add up after a while. Barry finding the Eastern Palace big key. All right.
And some powder for Mr. Barry Bonds. Neat little well venture there.
Finding a little bit of topping to put on those Doritos. A little bit of salt. Maybe a little sweetness too.
And Lily Graham, thank you for helping people out in that. Yes, for those that do not know, of course, there is no spot on the trackers to show how many Triforce pieces the players have. However, if you do look above the heart meter on each player's screen, you will see a number out of 30 showing you how many Triforce pieces they currently have.
Looks like we got Barry going down to check out what's in Blind's basement. It's going to find a Dark Palace small key. Those come in handy. Also finding a Ganon's Tower key and another Dorito. Now, in Key Sanity, the Ganon's Tower keys, not as useful as one would think. Still good to have, but not quite so useful, especially given the fact that we're in a Triforce hunt. We may not see much of Ganon's Tower.
Oh, not at all. I do believe we just had our second sword, though, pop up down in the back of Blind's house.
Ooh, that could potentially open up an Aghanim seed because we have access to Master Sword right off the bat.
Not to mention, both Cross and Number, who did opt to go visit their uncle early on, are also going to have an early Master Sword. There's something strangely humorous about seeing rollers in the forest.
Strange and slightly sadistic, perhaps.
At this point, we got everybody making the rounds, covering ground that others have already covered ahead of them, so everyone's playing catch-up at this point.
Yeah, we're probably not going to see a whole lot of route divergence, at least until we get a little deeper into the game. We still have a fairly limited number of options you want to pursue at the start, although remember, with key sanity being a part of it, a little bit of a chance to branch out early.
Yeah, we're definitely bound at this point, given what they found in Lost Woods and Kakariko. We're bound to find something interesting on the southern shore, because they're going to need a lot more than what they got now to go ahead and start delving into dungeons. Maybe even something hidden in the back of Shiracha's house, or at the beginning of EP.
Maybe we'll have some sriracha-flavored Doritos.
Looks like Mr. Barry Bonds is going to make the first delve into the front of Escape.
It's a place that is pretty attractive when you're playing the quote-unquote normal version of Randomizer. But again, with Enemizer, he could run into something very nasty in there. Thank heavens he does have Master Sword. That will give him quite a bit of offensive capability in case he runs into some nasty surprises down there.
Well, absolutely. And now, one thing I have always wondered, I haven't actually gotten around to asking anyone yet. Oh, looks like we just got the big key for the Tower of Hera as well, with Mr. Barry Bonds there. But sorry about that. My question is this: does it count Hyrule Castle as a dungeon in terms of its favorability of placement? Now, I know that version 27 does favor dungeons in terms of putting important items in them, but does it consider the Hyrule Castle to be a dungeon for that purpose?
Honestly, I think it depends on who you ask. The thing you have to remember about Escape is that it has a placement of 6 items in total. So it's a place you definitely want to cross off your list. However, the main thing is you don't really want to go in there without some sort of offensive capability early.
Absolutely. And just real quick here, Superb1980 just subscribed with a $4.99 sub. Thank you so very much, Superb1980. And also Korek, also with the subscription 3 months in a row. Thank you so very much, Korek, for that subscription as well.
Thanks to both of you kind people, because it's people like you that help us keep delivering these games to you. So thank you very much for your support. Let's see, we've got Barry going down into Zelda's chest. Hashtag what's in Zelda's chest.
And looks like it was the blue tunic.
Definitely a good find this early because it doubles your effective health. 5 hearts suddenly turns into 10. And given the fact that damage values can be randomized amongst enemies as well, you definitely want survivability early in this mode.
Another Cannon's Tower small key hiding at the front of the dam. But what's this big key? Looks like that's going to be an Ice Palace big key.
Yes, our players are definitely going to want to keep track of those big keys because you got to remember that's war items, and then it also determines what bosses you can kill in certain instances. And usually in Key Sanity, your go mode is often the Ganon's Tower big key. In this mode, you're not necessarily looking for one go mode item, but you want a lot of big keys because you get more accessibility at that point.
Absolutely. And Aaron checking out Mini Molderm Cave. Gonna have was definitely taking a bit longer than normal due to being in here with a fighter sword and going up against those horse heads.
Yes, the thing about Enemizer is you have got to be ready for anything because you just never know what you're going to run into. Make sure that you got your movement down and just be patient. Oftentimes going a little bit slower ends up being the faster route in here.
Oh, and the Mini Molderm Cave provides. Looks like that was that a fire rod there, as well as the Power Glove Ether And which big key was that, by the way?
Let's see here. I have to wait for it to catch up. But yes, a very, very good cave. Looks like we had a Skullwood small key in there as well.
Ed, Desert Palace big key is the one that it was. And also, just really quickly as well, we got another subscription, G-Wig, subscriber with Twitch Prime. Thank you so much for that subscription as well. So it looks like Mini Moldorm Cave was our hype cave for the day, especially with all these subs floating around.
Always glad to have those. And again, to everybody that has subbed or gifted or donated, we thank you very much for your support.
Barry Bonds there giving an offering of Lutefisk to the Lutefisk god. We appreciate that very much, Mr. Bonds.
Let's see what Aaron's going to find in the fridge tonight. This is kind of an out-of-the-way location. It's not always easy to route in unless you've got boots or flippers. But let's see. He looks like he's going to find... Hey! What are those?
Seriously, what are those? I don't know what those are.
Best footwear you will ever find. Because this is a speedrun after all, and we got to go fast.
Looks like great minds think alike, and both Aaron and Mr. Barry Bonds here are going to check the back of Escape, and I'm not going to be surprised if NumberPlay makes the same call.
Yes, this is always a good, quick, easy place to check. Looks like we got the book. We can read now. $1 and a heart. Now, with that book showing up, now we have access to Desert Palace. We have the boots as well, so Desert Palace is clearable at this point.
Yes, because they did get the Desert Big Key earlier, so that is going to be the best first spot for them. And I think Aaron's caught on to that and is going to make their way there post-haste. Really quick as well, looks like we had Mr. Willard J. Bradley gifting the gift of sub to our good friend here. Chat's going by quickly. I just missed it.
Willard,
Chat's going nuts.
Give shout-outs to Willard, because I tell you what, he's been a big help behind the scenes with this tournament. He's also provided us plenty of lulls along the way, so thank you, Mr. Willard.
It was unknown availability, by the way. And that guy, 2502, also subbing with Twitch Prime. Tonight, a beautiful night for subs, apparently. Big hype. Let's get a huge hype up there in chat for those subs.
Absolutely. Thank you for everybody that is subscribed, and everybody give it up. And if you have a sub floating around, please pitch it in here, because it's going to help us continue to give you these awesome races.
Also,
now,
as a quick update, Mr. Barry Bonds did grab another Triforce in the back of Shirach's hut, as well as a nice big fat stack of money, which sadly the bandit there seems to want just a little bit of that money.
And when Aaron looks like we found a GT small key in Desert Palace.
And the sub train just keeps a coming. Stambra subbing with Twitch Prime as well as Nice Air, whichever one it is, and I'm sorry that I butchered it. Also with the subscription, thank you so much for.
And how about Aaron finding that mirror?
I missed that. I was doing the shout-outs there. So early mirror, that's a nice one.
Yes, this is going to help speed things up a little bit, especially in Desert Palace. Everything's a little bit spread out. That mirror does help you get back to point zero pretty quickly. Also, you got to look at it this way. Once you find the lamp, you have access to Tower of Hera.
Absolutely. So that makes me wonder if Aaron made the better call than Mr. Barry Bonds in this case, whereas Barry Bonds, of course, went to EP, Aaron went to DP, and I'm thinking that was definitely the better call to make in the situation.
Yeah, for EP, that's a pretty strong opening play, but as far as who made the better call, we're just going to have to kind of wait and see what's going on. We're just going to have to see how it plays out. Although Barry does find yet another Dorito. That puts him at 5 out of 30.
And Constable Lemon with another sub, as well as Zarin with another sub, and they... I keep trying to scroll up to get them. The Phase 7. I'm apologizing. Chat keeps on resetting where I move move the chat to. But 3 more subs right there. Thank you guys so very much for the support.
Yeah, you've given us a lot to do tonight, chat, but keep it up. We are happy to do it. Thank you so much for everybody. Getting back to the race here, we have Aaron. Looks like he's going to be checking the chest on the right side of Desert Palace. And having trouble with those little crawler enemies in there. Having to do sword spins to try to hit them.
Also, keep in mind, he is still using the fighter sword. I don't believe Aaron ever did go back to talk to his uncle.
No, he's still using a level 1 sword. But yes, this is, again, part of Enemizer. When you get to these locked rooms, you have to kill everything to proceed. This is what sometimes will trip you up. You're never sure what you're going to be running into. Got to be prepared for anything. And looks like Barry found the Splody coin in Eastern Palace. That Bombo is going to come in very handy. Something that a lot of runners do, I find, in Enemizer, if you come to a room full of enemies and you're not sure what you can do to clear, if you've got the magic, that Bombo suddenly becomes a very handy tool to have because it will instantly kill most enemies with 1 use.
Oh, absolutely. Aaron actually going to check out Agina and getting the 3rd sword, 2nd for them. So now they have their master sword. But nice little venture there, and not a lot of people like to go to Agina. A lot of people like to put that off as long as they can. So as long as Aaron does go back to talk to his uncle, that is going to give Aaron a nice little edge with the tempered sword.
I love that pun you did right there. I mean, that was just right on point for sword puns.
And I'm getting word right now from Telnor that was the ice rod that was picked up, not the fire rod for all the runners. I do apologize. On my end, I didn't see the color too well, so I made the wrong call there. Do apologize.
Hey, look, we got the big key for Gans Tower from Aaron that we may or may not use this run. In normal key sanity, that would be a great find. Again, with what we're doing for Triforce Hunt, still may come in handy, but a little bit lower on the items you want to find.
Nevertheless, though, it's still early enough in this run that all bets aren't off yet.
Now, chat pointing out something that's very noticeable. Now, I've never tried it myself, but now Bombos does not work on Lionels, and Lionels can be a very difficult enemy to kill. So, remember, your Bombos is not an I win button, but it will help against the vast majority of enemies that you'll run into.
Barry's opting to actually sequence break here, heading up to Death Mountain.
That could pay off quite nicely because bear in mind, your logic is not as strong when you're in a Triforce Hunt game. Yes, logic does play a bit of a component in it, but if you can sequence break, the idea is just to be able to access as many chests as you possibly can. So sequence breaks like that, very, very strong in a Triforce Hunt.
Very true, and also a good thing to keep in mind is as long as you found all the chests, killing the bosses is not a big deal. As we stated earlier, getting into Ganon's Tower is not high on the priority list. There is a chance you can get all those Triforce pieces long before you even see Ganon's Tower. So killing bosses, not as big of a deal. You don't want to be necessarily looking to clear as many dungeons as you can, just clear as many chests as you can. Also, quick shout out to Dark Eternity 94 for yet another sub for the night. Thank you so much.
Thank you, good sir. And chat asking about the mirror. The mirror was on the torch in Desert Palace. Looks like Barry going to be making his way into Desert Palace. He will find his mirror there as well. Couldn't tell if he checked Agony Cave or not.
I don't believe he did. He's still using the Master Sword, so no Agony Cave from Barry yet.
Well, he will be very happy when he makes his way over there. Looks like CrossProduct is going down. He's going to find his book. That's hopefully going to lead him over towards Desert Palace and possibly his level 3 sword.
However, it looks like NumberPlay will actually be our first featured racer tonight with the Tempered Sword, making a quick dip in the good old Agony's Cave.
The good old ketchup claymore, the bacon blade. We've heard a lot of people talk about it, but in terms of raw damage output, that level 3 sword gives you the best jump in damage coming from level 2 to level 3. So very big find there.
And Painzor, nope, you do not have to kill Ganon. Just get the 30 Triforce bits. The second someone reaches 30 on their marker, that's it. Jump straight to the Triforce room. Game's over. Congratulations, you won.
Now, in terms of raw Triforce piece count, Aaron is actually in the lead right now with 7 pieces, followed by Barry at 6. Looks like Cross has 6, and Number also has 6. So all of our runners holding very close together. Aaron going to be finding his Splody coin, and again, that's going to help quite a bit for clearing those large rooms of enemies. Now, question for you, Zombie. Let's say you're in this race. Now, you're doing pretty well so far on Triforce pieces. You've made a little bit of dips into dungeons. What are you thinking about this seed panning out? Are you thinking you're going to want to put a preference on overworld, or are you going to follow the traditional logic and try to go through dungeons? Now, bear in mind, as Key Sanity, you're looking at mandatory double and possibly triple dips.
Well, so far, I believe a lot of our featured streamers have made a lot of the right calls. Going into Desert Palace, definitely the best call to make. You know, going into EP, dipping in there is almost, you know, mandatory as well, just to make those checks. But the thing is, I wouldn't be so much worried about sequence breaking as I would be trying to gather as much as I could. That may or may not be a flaw in my own ability as a runner as well. But I wouldn't be as concerned about getting up here to Death Mountain like Mr. Barry Bonds has. But he did just pick up the lantern, which, here's the funny part. The game is still going to want to think logically. You getting up on here on Death Mountain in a logical fashion. Now, normally, you would either need the gloves and the lantern to get through to get up on Death Mountain, or you need the flute. And since the lantern is on Death Mountain, that means the flute should be hiding out there somewhere for them to get.
Boy, and talk about a nice, good speed item. The flute opens up so much freedom of movement. It's a very, very big item to find, especially in a game mode like this where it is to your advantage to be able to cover a lot of real estate as quickly as you can. So yes, we are definitely going to want to keep an eye out for that flute.
So now that has me thinking of the overworld areas they have checked and what they would have access to. I have to wonder, does Mr. Zora have our flute?
Ooh, you know, that is a very good question, and that's a quadrant of the map that our players have not checked yet.
Because thing is, they would need some way to get into the Dark World for it to be in any of the Dark World areas, meaning they would also need a hammer at this point or the MIT upgrade. Since the lantern was on top of the mountain, they would need to get the flute before Ag 1 would technically be required as well, due to the logic.
And look at that. Barry found Moon Pearl, Vanilla Moon Pearl in here. So now that also opens up a question. You almost have to think that the flute has to be in the Light World, because you're supposed to find the Moon Pearl before you can logically open up the Dark World.
I'm starting to think my call of flute on Zora being more and more likely.
Chat pointing out, yes, that's almost the Vanilla Pearl. Almost. One chest off. Close enough for government work.
Looks like we got an electrified Trollderm tonight. And of course that tempered sword making mincemeat out of Trollderm.
One spin, one slash. That's all you need. That's all she wrote. Looks like Barry's going to be the first to pick something up here. And what's he going to find? It looks like a key. A Castle Tower key. Oh, I can't talk. Castle Tower key. Now, something you have to bear in mind. There are 2 chests in the Castle Tower. He has the lamp. How inclined would you be to check those 2 chests?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily, hopefully, fingers crossed there, need to go all the way up to Aghanim. However, the fact that we've seen a small key in the Lumberjack Cave, I would still clear Aga 1 just to be on the safer side of things if I decided to make that venture up into the tower. But you are right, there are 2 chests there, and quite possibly might be a good call to make.
Now, Aaron found the flute. Where did he find that flute? I must have missed something. Where did he find that flute?
Chad is telling me he actually found it in Aghanim's tower.
How about that? And yes,
the first Aga Tower chest.
Barry Bond's doing the Houlihan play, trying to get some money so he can pay that fish.
NumberPlay does look like they are heading towards Zora, so my call of flute being on Zora is of course wrong now that we know. But let's see if there's life lessons to be learned or something actually worthwhile grabbing. There's the mitts though on the ledge, so they're going to need those flippers before too long.
Hey, maybe vanilla flippers, you never know.
Oh, but NumberPlay is going to take a death before they make it, unfortunately. Those Beamoses can cause a lot of strife. Now, luckily, Barry Bond's taking a death as well. That's the downside to doing the fake flippers glitch. If you take damage while you're doing the fake flippers glitch, it doesn't just damage you, it kills you. So that's an unfortunate side effect there.
Yes, a couple of very unfortunate deaths. Press F to pay respects in chat. But they'll get back up. They're going to have to dust it off and just get up there and keep going.
Also does appear in our commentary of paying attention to the other runners here. CrossProduct did also get the chance to grab that flute.
So then that has to make you wonder. Okay, so the flute's in Aghanim's tower. You would require, not necessarily requiring the lamp to get in there, but makes me wonder, where's the rest of the items? Where are we thinking for like hook, shot, and hammer? Remember, that's going to open up a lot of progression. Where are you wanting to find those if you're one of these runners?
I think it's still a bit too early to call on that. They really can be in a variety of places. We've seen seeds in the past, of course, where, hook shot is in SP, where, bows and pod. A lot of runners get in this habit, myself definitely included, where you don't want to take a dip into a dungeon until you know you can clear it. But this is key sanity. This is, Triforce hunt. Do you take those risks a bit more? Because we have seen those items be in those spaces. Zora having a Triforce piece, though, definitely an expensive one, but maybe worth the run.
And Chad actually telling us that the hammer was in the darkroom Aghanim chest.
Oh, so CrossProduct doing that little bit of sequence breaking there, well worth it. But that also means if Mr. Barry Bonds decides to make an Ag 1 call, with the lantern, they can go ahead and clear it out, getting both the flute and the hammer and the Aghanim kill. Although, with it being the hammer, Ag 1 would not be necessary for Dark World access per se.
Looks like Aaron's going to be making quick work of Troll Dorm. Again, that level 3 sword paying massive dividends here. He's going to find his small key. He's going to get... looks like that's a crystal. My old man eyes can't see too well.
NumberPlay looks like he's grabbing that flute and heading on out of here. Not risking the AGA 1 dark room. Can't say that I blame him. I'm not a fan of dark rooms myself. There's very few that I'm actually able to do. So,
yeah, those dark rooms very difficult unless you've got a lot of practice. But with the hammer being back in there, boy, it's one again. Having that knowledge definitely paying massive dividends in a seed like this.
And the reason that Barry and Number did not get the mitts is neither one of them have the flippers. They actually weren't able to get those at all. So hopefully they will remember to come back. And Aaron with the rescue fairy bringing them right back in there, because that is a nasty little cave to try to get through.
Yes, press F to unlock the fairy.
Yeah, now that we actually got to see that those were rollers in the Old Man Mountain Cave, makes me kind of wonder, how did Barry make it through there alive doing it dark room style?
You know what? Don't let anybody ever tell you some part of Rando, there's always an element of luck involved. And you know what? I'll take luck any day of the week.
Oh, absolutely. Barry, of course, taking that AGA 1 dip, grabbing the flute, grabbing the hammer, and they're off to Dark World, it looks like, is their play that they're making.
Can't say as I blame him. You got the hammer, you got the pearl, you got lots of chests to check in the Dark World, and Kakariko especially. You've got Thieves Town, you've got Chess Game, you got all that stuff right there.
Oh, I apologize. He's not necessarily making a play for Dark World. They are just activating their flute. But I do think that Dark World would be a good call to make at this point in time. CrossProduct baffled a little bit by this beetle that's just taunting him on the other side. I wonder if Cross is about to go for a bomb jump. They are. Although with the boots, this one's a lot more manageable. There we go.
Obviously, that Helmasaur had something from Diablo 2. Cannot be frozen. Must be wearing hawk mail or something like that.
And I did just miss it there. NumberPlay actually picked up a small key for Dark Palace. That's going to be very important. Dark Palace being notorious with its placeage of keys, as well as picking up the lantern from the Ether obelisk there.
Yeah, let's not talk about keys in Dark Palace.
Still a sore subject for some, myself included.
And we have Cross going up to say hi to Troll Dorm round 1. Now, we've only seen one boss in here, so we don't know if bosses are truly randomized yet, but given it's vanilla Troll Dorm, we probably don't have randomized bosses. So that's kind of unfortunate because, oh, they are so much fun to watch.
Although one unfortunate thing that I didn't notice happen, but chat most certainly did. CrossProduct didn't get the Moon Pearl.
Ooh, he better go back and get that. I hope he doesn't leave that behind. That's big.
They're heading out.
No, turn around, man. Oh, I hope he remembers soon, because that's something that will definitely come back to bite him. However, do bear in mind, lots of chests to check on the light world side of Dark Mountain, so, you know, maybe he'll loop back around to it at some point.
Certainly.
Aaron actually farming rupees right now.
Mr. Barry Bones picking up another Palace of Darkness small key and Misery Mire's compass. Heading up to the top portion of Paradox Cave, we'll see what goodies hide in there.
Now, for those that do follow Key Sanity, compasses are a little bit of a strange creature. Compasses will show you how many chests you have left to do in a dungeon, but they're not quite as useful as you would think. If you were doing a casual run that spans multiple days, then yes, you definitely want the compass. But in a speed run like this, usually you have your items mapped out ahead of time, so a little bit of a limited use. Barry also finding 2 Doritos in the slightly less than hype cave. More hype this time cave.
Not necessarily the hype cave. That one was the Paradox Cave. Also happened to be finding shield. So yay for one of the more useless items to find. If I'm speaking honestly here, if I can manage to get by without ever picking up a shield in a run, I'm pretty happy about that.
Aaron looks like he's making the slog up towards King Zora. Let's see if the king has something good today. Not just another life lesson. Barry going to the actual hype cave. And what will we find? We have...
But Quake! Some good old quacks in there. Finding that medallion, which means no matter which medallions are required for both Turtle Rock and Misery Mire, Mr. Barry Bonds has it covered.
Now, what I am thinking of, if I am Barry, what I would like to be thinking about is, now, if I can find that cane somewhere, and if I can find a fire rod, and if I can find the hook shot somewhere, Turtle Rock has one of the higher counts for Triforces. You definitely want to make a visit to that place at some point during this run, just because when you're trying to find those last 2 or 3 Triforce pieces, that's a good place to find them.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing super spectacular in the mirror cave below the grove.
Still, it's an easy place that you can cross off. You got the mirror, then you can go back into town. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. Barry only has the gloves. He's not actually going to be able to lift the stone, go straight to the Dark World. He's going to have to map his way back around through Skull Woods if he wants to check Thieves Town and all those places.
That is correct. So not necessarily the play I would have made in that regard, but hey, maybe it was a smarter one. We'll see what pops out of the shovel game here. Typically, I do prefer to go through Skull Woods. That way I can check the chest in Skull Woods, head down through Kakariko, maybe clear out Thieves Town if it is pertinent. With them having the hammer, clearing out Thieves Town should be a bit of a no-brainer as they go through that area.
And that is an unfortunate number of digs for a rather unfortunate prize. Only some arrows.
And CrossProduct still not realizing they left behind a chest in Hera. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult to watch, I feel, on their side of things. Unless they realize that mistake rather quickly, that one is going to be very, very bad for them.
I'm getting a bat check out of CrossProduct. We do have just a piece of heart. And yes, I agree. That is heartbreaking to know that he's going to miss that Moon Pearl for a little while. Looks like Number is actually going to be finishing up the last part of Aghanim. He's probably going to go on ahead and polish him off. That way he can get in here and have yet another gate to get into the Dark World at the castle front door.
That's a somewhat interesting play, although, to be fair, they may be recalling that they did see a small key in the Lumberjack Cave and wanting to see if, quite possibly, that one's an important key or not.
Absolutely. Aaron, meanwhile, picking up yet another Skullwood small key. And Barry Bond's actually in Skull Woods, so we might get a peek and see what we can find in here.
Looks like Skull Woods is full of guards today. Looks like they've already raided the place.
Looks like we're finding another bottle in here. Skullwood's interesting setup here because in the original Rando, you're only going to find 2 items here. So now I've never fully looked into the logic as far as in Triforce Hunt, but I believe that it's still the same things hold as far as number of items that you can find in a place. Now, with key sanity being thrown into the mix, obviously those numbers get skewed. How committed are you to checking Skullwoods?
I mean, it's right, especially when you have a setup like Hammer and Gloves, where it's pretty obvious, or you know, where your Dark World access is going to be. For me, it's become just a bit of a habit, a ritual, to check Skull Woods as soon as I check, get into Dark World. It could be nothing, or it could be a make or break part of the run.
I mean, Barry's going to have to be really careful here because these anti-fairies are going to give him no shortage of grief.
Oh, and
especially
it looks
if you get
like
trapped
they've got
behind
him.
there.
He's got a hard thing to deal with right now. Oh, but he has Barry. Oh, he had the powder. He could have ended it right there with the powder, but he's just going to rely on the fairy.
Press F for fairy, chat.
And a nice little Triforce piece right there. Opting to get some of his magic back as well in the safety room.
Absolutely a smart decision because you definitely want magic in this place. It looks like Aaron and Barry are going to be tied at 10 Doritos apiece. Meanwhile, a big key on Pyramid. That's the Skull Woods big key.
Now, a neat thing here is we just had CrossProduct go ahead and deal with Landmolas, which is also the green pendant. So, Shirachi check.
Oh, and I can't remember how far he dipped into Eastern Palace. So, yes, absolutely might be a good chance to route 2 of these locations together.
Especially if Sahasrahla is trolly enough to be holding a bow. But it's just a bottle.
Right letter, wrong rest of the word.
It's definitely still a very tight race, and even with CrossProduct forgetting the Moon Pearl, still right up there with Barry Bonds and Aaron. Cross has got 9 Triforces, whereas AaronDobbe and Mr. Barry Bonds have 10. Actually, Barry Bonds having 11 at this point. NumberPlay is the one falling a little bit behind, but this is still anyone's game. We do want to make that absolutely clear. This is not about who can clear the dungeons out and get to Ganon's Tower and beat Ganon. It's about who gets those 30 Triforces first.
Well, and remember, there are 40 locations total. That means there are 10 as far as leeway goes. You don't have to necessarily check the same 30 chests as your opponent. If you get your 30 pieces somewhere else in a more efficient manner, suddenly you're the one winning and he's the one that's not there.
Yes, the Enemizer is what is causing the palette changes. That is because certain enemies are kind of tied to certain palettes. Actually, I may be getting corrected on that by Maria Chan. It's just an optional Enemizer flag. I always figured that the palette change was due to certain enemies requiring certain palettes, and them being on the screen just causes that. But I'm assuming I am wrong in that regard, which is fine. You learn something new every day.
Looks like Barry finding the map to Skull Woods in his chess game. We've got Aaron checking the bombable hut to find another Dorito.
And I can't believe it's not Buttersword. NumberPlay finding our 4th sword in the Bombos Monument. Getting that Buttersword.
I can't believe it's butter. Definitely plenty of swords on hand, although something to note, this is not a particularly healthy seed. We do have blue mail to help with survivability, but our heart container count not especially high.
Not especially, but I have seen these runners, especially with Aaron and Mr. Barry Bonds being in Thieves Town right now. For a lot of newer runners, blind is definitely a boss that will humble you quickly. But even with the amount of hearts these runners have right now, with the skill level that we're dealing with our featured runners today, I have no doubt in my mind they will make pretty easy work of blind, even with the hearts they have.
I am definitely inclined to agree. Barry Bonds dodging that chain chomp. Ugh, that's unfortunate placement on that guy. Yeah, you don't want to get teeth marks off that one.
Oh, absolutely not. Misery Mire map there in Thieves Town as well, hiding. And look at those thwomps on CrossProduct screen. That
God,
is
you
the
gotta
most beautiful Armos fight I have ever seen.
Oh, folks, this is why we love Enemizer, because, God, you never know what you're going to get.
Absolutely.
Oh, Aaron down to half a heart container, and he is going to be taking the death. He doesn't have a fairy, does he? No,
nope.
that's it. Looks like that's a death warp.
Earlier.
Well, maybe not a death warp. Nope, yep, it's a death warp. We're going to call it a death warp.
But is rewarded with a map of the Dark Palace. Now, remind me with Key Sanity, and to help the people that are not as familiar. Now, of course, the compass will start telling you how many items you have checked in said dungeon. How many of how many? The map, if I recall correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong here, is it the map that shows you whether or not it is crystal or pendant?
I believe you are correct. If memory serves me correctly, a map will tell you what kind of dungeon you're dealing with. Now, bear in mind, you're not guaranteed to find 30 Triforce pieces before you have to get to Ganon's Tower. We might still be making that climb. So it would be very handy to know what dungeons you're going to run into to try to get those 7 crystals. You still are glad to have that kind of intel. Because, again, you could get to 28 out of 30 and still have to make the climb up to GT. And Jet correctly correcting me in chat to correctly make sure that I am correcting the correct answer. Thank you, Jet. Shoutouts to you, sir.
Yes. And looks like we got CrossProduct making the bit of a slog up towards Zora. Gonna get a Triforce for his troubles and an idea of where the mitts are hiding.
And Barry gonna pick up his sticko butter.
And it does appear that Mr. Barry Bonds may be making a play to finish out Desert Palace and check Sahasrara himself. Because I do believe Barry Bonds has already been through here once already.
True, but also remember Sahasrara only having the bottle today. Something definitely nice to have, but we were hoping for a bow, of course. Now, Aaron picking up the shovel. Now, don't forget, that's a fetch quest. Have we checked the shovel yet?
I don't believe Aaron has gone back to the Grove, so don't believe that they have left the Dark World since grabbing that little piece. Because they are still in Skull Woods where the shovel was found. Oh, I am getting corrected, actually, that they did check the shovel spot, and it is a small key for Pod.
You are absolutely right. Yes, thank you, chat, for helping keep us on track.
This is what happens when they allow a commentator with horrible ADD to try to sit here and watch 4 screens.
And it's even worse when they get 2 of us. We'll make it somehow. I don't know. But we'll make it. Now, Number's going to be checking the Graveyard Ledge, it looks like. Now, remember, Graveyard Ledge does have a Dorito, so he's going to find that. Since nobody has gone back to get Mitts yet, it looks like Flippers is going to be our next major progression item. Now, where do you think we're going to find those?
Given what we're already working with, within the constraints that we are working with them, I would have to say... Oof, that's a rough one. What exactly we have access to? We've not seen anyone do a full clear of Thieves Town. I'm thinking Thieves Town needs to be fully taken care of. They have the ability to do so, I do believe. Or are they still missing a few keys?
They may be missing some keys. Remember, you can only check the first 4 before having the big key.
That's right. Big key is still needed. I think quite possibly we're going to find that missing Thieves Town big key here before too long. Either that, or they need to make a play into Pod. We've not seen Pod, and we already know they have a few keys for Pod.
Yep, Pod looking like a good dip at this point, just a matter of when they're going to route it in. Of course, Barry made quick work of Landmolas with Butter. They go down extremely fast with that.
Oh,
now it looks like he's making a chance over here. Do you think he might check the first chest in Swamp Palace? No, wait, never mind. He can't. Doesn't have the flippers.
No, it wouldn't be able to. Without flippers, you can't check the first. You would need the hammer to be able to check anything beyond that, which, of course, they have. But flippers are definitely needed at this point. Looks like Barry Bonds is going to make a pyramid check. Another thing that could be really trolly with this seed is if the catfish happens to be holding something. I don't believe we've seen a catfish check just yet. It's so far out of the way. It's another one of those items that a lot of people do not like to check.
No, you're absolutely right. But you know what else we haven't seen a check on? Pedestal. And we've had runners that have come within brushing distance of it. I can see their reason for not wanting to check Pedestal, but there's always that big what if.
Absolutely.
What if Pedestal has something big?
And those what ifs get you, and the what ifs are what gets me to check catfish every time, and it looks like Mr. Barry Bonds has that same thought process. We very well may be getting a catfish check right now. Oh, look at this superb 1980 cheering on. Looks to be $5, or I'm sorry, 500. I always immediately translate that into the actual currency, but 500 bits plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 510 bits. Thank you very much, Superb 1980, for that.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for your very kind donation.
Thank you, Telenor, for doing the math for me, even though I didn't see it till after it was done. So I still look like a fool. Oh well. And
Catfish has a Turtle Rock small key. Now, even though we're not ready to go in there just yet, not necessarily bad finding those, because Turtle Rock, pretty small key intensive dungeon.
Yeah, any of the dungeons where you're finding a lot of the keys underneath pots or on enemies, those keys are still going to be static in place. So finding keys may not necessarily be as big of a deal. That is, of course, unless you are trying to do a full clear to check every single location, which even then, not every key is always needed for that purpose.
Could absolutely find out, lots of blind alleys, lots of false leads to find in a race like this. So you can get penalized by it, but then again, don't forget, sometimes doing a full clear gives you that edge over your opponents because everybody's trying to go as fast as they can.
Here's an interesting one. That AGA 1 ledge, the Lumberjack ledge there, was a pod key. Now, Pod is one of the most key-intensive dungeons. If Pod is holding an important progression item, AGA 1 may, in fact, be required.
Well, I think Mr. Barry Bonds is going to give us a pretty thorough check of what's behind there. First, he's going to go get his bottle from Sarsaparilla. But yes, I want to see what's in Pod because yes, it's like you said, very small key intensive dungeon. I want to see what this place holds because it's almost always something good.
CrossProduct going for fake flippers, getting rather desperate at this point. Still not apparently aware that they have missed a chest in Hera.
He's going to go check Hobo, but remember, anything that's in Hobo logically is locked by the flippers. So, you know, you have to wonder. I mean, like I said, this looks to be a desperation move. But you know what? I've done that myself before. I have forgotten the smallest item, just the smallest little detail ends up being a big item. I think we've all been there at one point. So, you know, it's the kind of thing that happens. What I'm going to be interested to see is when he figures it out, does he brush it off and keep going? I certainly hope that he does.
Oh, likewise. Now, here is something that is quite interesting for Enemizer, and one reason why I am intrigued heavily by Enemizer. Now, of course, normally, Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness are bow-locked, normally. Now, as we're seeing plainly right here, both Eastern Palace and Pod for this were not bow-locked because the enemies that had to be killed to open the door in this time were not Igors or Mimics, respectively. So they were able to get through without a bow.
Absolutely right. Pod not necessarily bow-locked, and other dungeons could potentially be bow-locked. So, you know, if you find something that's got a couple of red Igors in it, and it's a locked room and you have to kill everything to proceed, suddenly that area becomes bow-locked. Now, also, and correct me if I'm wrong, with small keys being thrown into the mix of key sanity, suddenly you would want to add those two item counts together to get the possible number of chests to check. So since Pod normally has 6 small keys and 5 items to be found in it, Pod actually is the highest value dungeon outside of Ganon's Tower.
Absolutely. So it's a great thing to check in this case, especially since I do believe Mr. Barry Bonds came in here with 5 of the 6 required keys. Now, of course, we know the 6th is on the AGA 1 ledge. That's why I was very, very curious about AGA 1 being possibly mandatory. Now, those runners that are familiar with the hammer yump very well may not need that 6th key.
Absolutely right. And then remember, if you're counting items, you get to 11, you don't have to necessarily fool with Helmasaur. Looks like Barry is... No, he's not going to try the hammer yep. He's going to go straight across the bridge. And there's our flippers!
There we go. There's the flippers for Mr. Barry Bonds. The next piece of the puzzle found. Pod was indeed the right call. And he gets another piece of treasure, piece of Triforce for his trouble as well as an Ice Palace map.
Finding that dark grain Dorito. Maybe rye or pumpernickel or something like that. Now going through the harmless Hellway. Now, maybe he'll do the hammer yump this time around.
Well,
maybe that was originally part of his plan.
Possibly, but now here's a big question. Yep, he's doing the hammer yump. Was the big key found? I can't recall if our Pod big key was found or not.
I am ashamed to say as a commentator, I cannot remember.
Mr. Barry Bonds opting for, yep, there we go, those frame-perfect strats of quickly cycling in and out of your menu there to get that jump aimed just right.
And he answers our question, no, he does not have the big key.
Still gets a piece of Triforce for his trouble, as well as the big key from Misery Myers.
Now, we still don't have the cane, but you actually can check a fair amount of Misery Mire without needing the Cane of Samaria. So definitely want to have it as a place that you can route in, because he has all 3 medallions. And he has the flute. He just doesn't have the mitts yet. But now he's got the flippers. He can go get that mid upgrade. So now does he think maybe to make a play on Misery Mire?
Quite possibly. I mean, given the circumstance, your choices at this point would be Misery Mire or, with the flippers, Swamp Palace. That's the big one. Or we could also see what the Fairy Queen here has for us. I know someone else checked it earlier because they had the fake flippers plus the pearl, so I knew it wasn't anything too major, but a Triforce piece. CrossProduct back in Tower of Hera. Let's hope they go upstairs. Let's really hope they go upstairs.
Now, also to note, with Barry Bonds finding that last Triforce piece, he is over halfway to completing his goal. Just to do a quick recap, we have Barry Bonds at 16, Aaron at 14, NumberPlay is at 11, and CrossProduct just behind him at 10.
Looks like Cross is going to creep on up there.
Interesting thing to see, is he going to be able to shake this off? You know he's going to be upset at himself because he was here earlier. But, you know, sometimes you just have to say, hey, I made a mistake. I'm going to keep at it, keep going. I'm not out of this yet. So I'm hoping that he does keep it up and keep a good attitude going forward. And I'm sure that he will.
I'm still expecting bombs, bombos, and everything in between. Oh, he just not even opting for any of the rage moves. Just, I'm out of here. I got to catch up. I got things to go and do.
Absolutely. Keep after it, man. We're rooting for you. Looks like Aaron finding part of a heart in the bottom part of Palace of Darkness.
NumberPlay making that move on Landmola as well. Going to be a little bit disappointed, of course, but hey, that comes with it. And Mr. Barry Bonds taking Jeremiah out for a leisurely stroll.
Now here we're going to have him probably check quite a few locations. He's going to be able to check Peg Cave here. He's going to be able to check Bat, which I don't think he has checked already. Also going to be able to check the Smith Brothers and see what they've got.
Oh, we're getting a ped check from Cross. Yellow triangle.
You know what? Probably not a good find, but what if you get to 29 out of 30 and you have 3 pendants and you know where that last one is? That could suddenly become a very quick and easy out for you.
Absolutely, and Cross already has 2 of those 3 pendants.
I missed it, but what did our Smith brothers have? What did they have for us today?
I'm about to check that out on the restream, or on the actual main stream on here. Let's see. It was a Triforce.
So with that, Barry's still closing in on his goal. That puts him at 17 out of 30. And looks like he's going to do Gary's lunchbox. Now from here, he'll have 2 options. He can go to Mire or he can go to Swamp. Now bear in mind, he does not have the hook shot yet. So if you don't have the hook shot, do you want to go check Mire or do you want to go check Swamp?
Oh, they both have their faults. With Mire, you're lacking the cane. And with Swamp Palace, you're lacking the hook shot. Question is, which of those 2 can net you the most chests to check? I think in this case, and I think Mr. Barry Bonds is going to agree with me here, I'd say Mire.
Mire going to have a total of 5 possible locations, plus you got the 2 in the shed, and you've got the 1 in Checkerboard Cave. And here he's going to find another Turtle Rock small key. Again, good having those. Oh,
but
and a big
there's
key.
That big chest key, so now, technically, now the tables have turned. Before, without the big key, Barry wouldn't have been able to check the back half of Swamp Palace, and of course the left side is right off without a hook shot. So, in essence, without the big chest key or the hook shot, you actually only have about 3 items to check in Swamp Palace. Now with that, there's a lot more items you could check. So rough call. He's already here at Misery Mire. Does he go in Misery Mire, or does he go ahead and check out Swamp?
Oh, and something to bear in mind. What does he have a Swamp Palace small key yet?
Oh.
That could be a very trolly item. That's the gatekeeper to getting into Swamp Palace, especially in Key Sanity mode. And I can't remember. Does he have one yet?
Yet again, I'm getting corrected because I'm misremembering things. I completely forgot that door behind the big chest that leads to the back half is not the big door. That's a small key door. I keep forgetting that. Thank you so much for the correction, chat. Apparently, I needed just a little bit more coffee before commentating tonight.
Make me a cup too while you're at it. Looks like Barry opting to do sword beam strats. Now he has butter, so he's going to melt most of these enemies on here, but he's got those little night crawlers he's going to have to worry about too. I'm a little surprised I haven't seen him try to use the Bombos medallion.
Possibly trying to conserve some of the magic, because none of these runners so far have half magic. Possibly trying to conserve a little bit of magic for later, although I'm not quite sure for what. In terms of the room where you have to light the lamps, he's just got a lantern, so he's not going to be using up that much magic to light those.
Also bear in mind, Ice Palace still on the table, and of course Ice Palace, a very magic-intensive dungeon. Very massive dungeon as far as you want to have lots of magic. And Barry finding yet another Triforce piece. He is inching in on that 30 Triforce gold.
Yeah, already sitting now at 19 out of the required 30. So at this point, this could be over quick, or we could still be in for a slog. It all depends on the mercy of the of how plentiful the rest of the Triforce pieces are.
Well, remember, we have 40 total areas that we can check. So Barry has checked roughly half of those, and almost 2/3 of the way to the goal. But now, you know, if you've checked most of the overworld locations, now you're starting to narrow a little bit. Aaron picking up his Triforce piece out of Gary's lunchbox. Looks like Gary's wife packed him a Dorito. Just one Dorito.
He needs to go on a diet, apparently.
As long as it's a Cool Ranch Dorito, I'd be happy with that in my lunchbox.
And with just a couple of slivers of health left, Mr. Barry Bonds getting ready to check the vanilla big key chest in Mire. Let's see what it holds for us.
Now remember, he doesn't have the fire rod. He's got to do this the old-fashioned way.
Trying to make quick work of it, but he has to get all 4 lit before the first one goes out, which he does. So good job on that, Barry.
Makes it look easy.
We got NumberPlay in pod right now, trying to clear the rest of it out. CrossProduct making up for lost time, heading into the Dark World and trying to cover as much ground as they can.
Number about to get up there and find his flippers. He's going to be very happy to find those. Triforce in the Big Key location in Swamp Palace. And with that, Barry is officially 2/3 of his way to the goal. Meanwhile, we have Cross checking the Sea House, finding his small key to Misery Mire. Barry going to have to be very careful here. He's running on just 1/2 of a heart. Just going to have to slow down and try to play a little bit conservative here.
And AaronDobbe getting in a similar predicament with only 1 heart left and dealing with these shadows. That could end very badly very quickly.
And with the powder save, excellent strategy, going for that little swirly vortex under that skull rock.
And getting good old number 21 blackjack from the big chest key, Mr. Barry Bonds.
And speaking of big keys, there's the Turtle Rock big key.
Very nice find. NumberPlay picking up their flippers. They're going to be able to get their mitts here very, very soon. And we'll see if they make a similar play for Meyer or if they decide to chance it on Swamp.
Now, Number, of course, going down into the dark room. Because Pod is so intensive, you really don't want to leave a whole lot behind. It's also kind of out of the way for a dungeon, so you definitely want to clear out as much of it as you can. And Barry looking like he's going to give us our first dip into the deep freezer.
This one's an interesting call. As to why, I mean, certainly with the Bombos it is clearable, but as to why you would go for Ice Palace over Swamp first, Swamp having a few more items to check.
Now, Ice Palace will have a total of 5 locations to check. I know that he's going to be very comfortable doing a Ice Palace bomb jump. Maybe thinking he's going to find a lot of Triforce pieces here, and then he can head to Swamp, which Swamp has 7, so a lot higher item density over in that place. He's also maybe thinking not everybody is going to check Ice Palace. And maybe he's not looking for Triforce pieces. Maybe maybe he wants the Fire Rod. Maybe he wants Cana Samaria. You get those, suddenly Turtle Rock comes into play.
CrossProduct blowing off a little bit of steam here with the Arrow game.
I have to wonder if maybe he's farming rupees or what is he doing playing that game? I've never seen this before in a race. I'm sure there's a good reason for doing it. Maybe to have enough rupees so that he can check this and check chess game.
That would be my best guess as well, just to make sure that got enough cash on hand. I'm not sure if CrossProduct already did the Houlihan room for Zora earlier or not.
Barry with the successful completion of the Ice Palace bomb jump. One of the gateway tricks to getting where you can comfortably run rando. And to pull back away from this race for a minute, remember this is a community race, so the whole idea for these races is to build the community presence. So if you're out there watching one of these and you're thinking, God, I don't know if I can do this. Nice thing is you don't have to. You can get in there, you can learn, you can try new modes out. And I tell you what, from my time in this community, it has been super helpful. Everybody's just so nice in this community. And, if you're thinking that you want to try something like this, get in here. The water's fine. Try it out. You might like it. And who knows, we might end up featuring you on one of these races. Now, getting back to Triforce count, we have Aaron finding his 21st piece of Triforce. We now have a tie between Barry and Aaron, so both these players closing in. We also have Cross and Number hovering at about the same margins, Number having 15 pieces, Cross having 14.
AaronDobbe making a similar play after finishing up with the Meyer. So at this point, I'm having to start wondering, have they even picked up any of the Swamp Palace small keys. I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure that we've seen a Swamp Palace small key for them to even get in.
I don't think we have, but now chat, correct us if we are wrong. But I don't think we have seen a single one. And of course, Barry having to make the bomb jump there because he does not have the hook shot. He cannot cross this gap the traditional way.
Yeah, PG Weaver making the correction for me here. There's only one Swamp Palace small key, and you need it to get in. Everything else is under pots.
Absolutely good observation. Yes, that Swamp Palace small key, that is the gatekeeper that's going to allow you to get in.
I completely forgot about that, so that's on me there.
And for a correction for chat, the big key for Swamp Palace was in the shed, not the small key. Again, very helpful to have, but we still need the small key before we can get in there and find anything. Aaron coming up on his Ice Palace bomb jump. Again, I would expect all of these runners to be quite comfortable with this one.
NumberPlay checking his peg cave, taking Jeremiah home. So that's going to open up, of course, the lunchbox and another Triforce piece for him. And I believe CrossProduct is going for the catfish. So.
We have Barry going down. He's going to find the big key for Dark Palace. So that chest that he had to leave behind, you have to wonder if that's coming back into his mind or not. What if there's a cane? What if there's something I need in there?
Not to mention a chance to take on good old Helm. Maybe Helm has something.
Always a possibility, although I did not keep track of the items we had found in there. You can do it by process of elimination. May not even need to fight Helmsaur, although I do believe Palace of Darkness was a crystal dungeon. Barry taking on Cold Stare. That's the sun from Mario 3, isn't it? Oh, got it. He's just as cruel here as he is in that game. Oh, my goodness. Press F for Fairy. Press F for Fairy.
But that butter sword is cutting through them like butter?
Very astute observation. Very astute. But for his troubles, he will find a compass. And again, compass is not the best item you want to find. But, you know, if things start to run together on you, sometimes it's nice to have something to keep you on the rails.
And someone in chat was asking if they'd found all of the large keys yet. No, as long as my observations are right here, do believe they are still missing the Turtle Rock big key, and I think the Thieves Town big key, if I'm not mistaken.
I actually thought we had found the Turtle Rock big key, although I could be mistaken myself. I want to say it was in Ice, not an Ice Palace, but Mire, perhaps?
So Thieves Town was in Ice, and Turtle Rock has also been found. So Turtle Rock and Thieves were both in Ice. So those were the missing pieces. So yeah, no, every big key should be found at this point.
And we're going to take Hobo's blanket because apparently it makes him turn invisible. And I'm sure there's a pun in there somewhere, but I can't find it.
Harry Potter reference, who knows?
Barry going back, I guess, to check that big chest in Palace of Darkness. Also getting another map check from Barry Bonds. Yeah, I believe he's going to go back. He's going to check that big chest. He's probably also going to kill off Helmasaur while he's here. Thinking again, you know what? Maybe those last Triforce bits are in Ganon's tower.
Thing here is going back to Pod for a single chest. Now, that single chest very well may be important. But with the Thieves' Town Big Key, that does open up several chests at that point. So we'll see how this call pans out.
Well, now also look at the situation. Look at as far as what he has cleared through. Pod has 2 chests remaining. He's done an item count on them. You can't get into Swamp Palace just yet. Skull Woods, I believe, has been fully cleaned out. It does have a red crystal, so there's always Fat Fairy you can look at. Thieves' Town only has a couple left, and Mire he's already been to. So maybe in his calculations, this is the best gamble he can make.
And it was a nice gamble that paid off. That was the Fire Rod, which does open up the rest of Skull Woods to him.
So yes, very good call on Barry's part coming here, especially if he's going to go at this point and try to get all of his crystals. Now he went ahead and mirrored out, coming out, going back in. Now he's going to, I believe, make the dive all the way down to Helmasaur King. Now, he does not have a bow, he doesn't have silver arrows, but he does have Butter Sword. So he'll need to take 16 whacks with a hammer to break the mask, and then 2 swings from a Butter Sword should make quick work of Helmasaur King.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely not concerned about the ability to take on this boss. No, Berto, that was not the Fire Rod that's been seen lying all over the world. That is a very funny side effect of the Enemizer that I personally love. Certain things have been replaced with the fake Master Sword from the Lost Woods. So that's sitting all over the world at points. It's quite hilarious.
And unlike the true Master Sword, this sword just makes fun of you for picking it up. Not terribly useful, but funny. Aaron gonna get a little bit of revenge on one of his childhood traumas, I'm sure. That little angry son. Now, bit of trivia for you, and for anybody else. Do you need the hammer to kill Helmasaur King?
That's a quick question. Are you asking me or are you asking a chat?
I'm asking anybody that wants to answer.
Because the answer to that question is no. There is another item you can use to remove that pesky old mask, although it takes a little bit more finesse.
Indeed it does, but a lot of people, especially that are new to this game, may not realize it. Yes, you can break that mask with bombs, if you need to.
But it is true, you can't reach him without the hammer, so there really is almost no reason to attempt to fight him with bombs, unless you're in a boss Enemizer where you happen to run into the Gold Helmasaur King before you happen to get the hammer.
I only bring that up because that's what happened to me last time I did Enemizer. I learned the hard way. But anyway, getting back into here, Barry Bond's going to be going to the back half of Skull Woods. There's still one chest to check here, and of course you got Mothula. Meanwhile, Aaron, I believe, is going to give us our first peek at the back half of Thieves' Town.
See, and this may prove that I am a horrible router and logic player, but yeah, this would have been one of the places I would have went rather early on. As soon as I got that key from the Ice Palace, I would have gone straight here. Simply because I...
Bear in mind, you do have 4 places you can check on the back half here. So yes, definitely a good play from Aaron here, but you can't fault Barry because he did find the fire rod, so that was a gamble that did pay off for him.
Oh yes.
Cross taking a death here.
No, definitely Mr. Barry Bonds has been making some of the better plays in that regard. Another is Turtle Rock small key. This is why I still don't get sub 2 times, by the way. I make poor calls.
Well, especially in a mode like this, you want to check everywhere that you can because, you know, there's those little Triforce pieces could be anywhere. Those Doritos can be literally anywhere there's a chest. So you definitely want to check everything and make big sweeping motions. You don't want to have to double or triple dip places unless you just absolutely have to. Now, it looks like we've got Number pulling up to the Ice Palace bomb jump. He's going to be, I'm sure, making this look easy. And we're going to get a big chest check from Aaron. Just a whole lot of money. He found the Thieves' Hoard.
NumberPlay taking a couple of quick falls. This bomb jump is a lot harder than it looks. A lot of these runners make it look extremely easy. Looks like we just got a fire shield there from a blind cell. But yeah, the bomb jump is definitely made to look easier than it is. But that particular jump, while the horizontal has a fair bit of leeway, the vertical is pixel perfect. You do have to be on a specific vertical pixel for that jump to be pulled off. It is not an easy one to do.
Yes, very difficult to line up, but again, kind of one of the gateway tricks in this game. You need to sit down and be able to practice it. Now, what kind of pun are we going to get? Oh, he got his flat tire fixed for a flat rate. Or something to that effect. More importantly, what is that sprite?
I'm not sure, but it sure looks happy to see you. And a Triforce for Aaron's troubles of going in to face blind. That puts Aaron up to 22, tied with Mr. Barry Bonds. Of course, Mr. Barry Bonds is going to be taking the lead just once again as soon as he makes it to blind.
Again, these runners being very close to one another. The smallest divergence in route could mean all the difference at this point. Aaron gonna find out just how many digs it takes to find those arrows. Unfortunately, the number is too many. Barry gonna go down, get his level 2 shield, something very handy to have when fighting blind, although any one of these runners could probably do that fight with very little trouble.
Chat certainly brings up a point. I think one of the big equalizers here is who can find that swamp key first.
That is a very, very good point. That one little key is holding up 7 locations to check. And Swamp Palace has a pretty quick clear time if you don't make mistakes and if you do very efficient routing.
It'll definitely be a quick clear since none of them have the hook shot if they just opt to do the main stretch towards Argus. Clearing that out shouldn't take any time hardly at all and may prove very lucrative.
Absolutely. You've only got 2 chests on that left side, and they're very time consuming to get to when you compare it to the rest of the dungeon. Now, I'll be interested to see what Aaron's doing up here. I don't think he's going to Turtle Rock, but he's probably going to go check the dark half of Death Mountain, which is something we haven't checked yet. Also, remember, he can check the first chest in Hookshot Cave.
Yep, and I have seen the hook shot there with my own 2 eyes, so it wouldn't surprise me a bit if we saw a hook shot there today.
So yes, all you potential runners, pay attention when he checks this, because the hook shot can be here.
And a Bombos locking down Turtle Rock, and of course Aaron's going to go ahead and get that opened up right away. Doesn't have the Cane of Samaria to get in there, but saves time for later.
Absolutely. Now, with him not having a fire rod, now the 2 chests in the first room off to the right are going to be locked to him because he's not going to have a way to set those torches on fire. Looks like he is going to go ahead and check Super Bunny Cave while he is here. These are 2 chests he can check pretty quickly. And a Dorito. There's yet another one. And that puts Aaron at 23 of 30. All right, pay attention, kids. This is how you get to the first chest in Hookshot Cave. And it has the cane! Turtle Rock, here we come.
Yeah, a quick dip in there would not be a bad idea whatsoever. He's probably certainly glad now that he went ahead and opened it up.
Well, and with all those keys he's been collecting, he doesn't necessarily have to go to that room on the right. He can go ahead and plow straight on in.
Still, that is 2 chest spots that you don't want to miss necessarily. Could be important.
Absolutely.
So I still wouldn't skip it.
Well, but remember, he doesn't have the fire rod, so he can't check them. However, there are 9 total spots in here, so if he can get to the other 7, he might be doing okay.
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure you're watching AaronDobbe here, but Mr. Barry Bonds just found something quite interesting in the Fat Fairy Cave, and that would be the bow.
Oh, that is a big item. We definitely are going to be glad we had that.
Well, quite possibly. Now, of course, you know, Eastern Palace and Pod were not bow locked, which is one of the big reasons why you need the bow. However, it could make your life a whole lot less troublesome in terms of facing off against Ganon. Actually, I completely did forget. Actually, the Pod was bow locked, just in a different spot.
But don't forget, you're going to need that for red Igors. You're going to need that for red Mimics. So yes, bow lock can still come into play in a lot of other places. So he's definitely going to be glad he's got that. Aaron, meanwhile, is going to be checking the vanilla big key chest. Also picking up a safety key for his troubles.
Once again, I'm getting corrected by chat. I got all excited about the bow. They're never going to fight Ganon, more than likely.
No,
so the bow is irrelevant in that regard.
Again, though, remember, coming across red Mimics and red Igors, that bow is very handy to have, because you definitely don't want to get locked and think, oh god, now I got to go find it. Looks like Barry's going to go down and pay Helmasaur King a visit. Aaron is going to be checking Mimic Cave here in a little bit, I'm willing to bet. Now, what will we find here in Mimic Cave? We will find, behind door number 1, a Dorito!
Up to 24. Just 6 more for Aaron, and it's done.
He's 80% of the way there. That actually puts him with a slight lead over Barry. Now, he's not going to be able to get all the way to Trinex, but now Aaron could very well complete Laser Bridge here. So he's going to be able to collect quite a few spots, just not everything.
And the Turtle Rock Dark Cave being a heck of a lot easier than in normal mode, in my opinion, without the spinning fire.
Now, Mr. Barry Bonds finding another very important item on Helmasaur King. That hook shot, ladies and gentlemen, that is a very good item to find. And yet one more thing he will need to make a complete sweep of Swamp Palace.
Oh, yeah. And sadly, I was trying to keep an eye on everyone else, so I didn't even notice he'd picked up that hook shot. So, definitely a good find.
Now, Aaron finding piece number 25. He's 2 pieces over Barry at this point. However, look at what Barry's got for items. Barry has so many wonderful things there. I still put a slight I put a slight edge on Barry at this point. What do you think?
Barry definitely has the ability to search more areas here. However, Aaron with number 26, he needs 4 more. Luck could heavily be on it. Swamp Palace small key.
There's our small key. We need that. So now if you're Aaron, I'm betting he's going to be hauling butt down to Swamp Palace.
So here's the deal. Even if Aaron doesn't get the hook shot, if Aaron goes to Swamp Palace right now and clears out what he can, that could still give a sizable amount of Triforce, or it could give none. Could be a dud. We don't know.
Absolutely. Now remember, he doesn't have the bow. Now, Pedestal has a Triforce, but Aaron doesn't have any pendants. He can't check that spot.
Another big lead that Mr. Barry Bonds here has is Mr. Barry Bonds can now, if they do take that dip into Turtle Rock, would have the ability to clear Swamp Palace, which is a crystal, as well as go back in and finish Misery Mire after getting that cane from the hookshot room, which would give them access to Ganon's Tower, which surely has plenty of Triforce pieces in it. That would be a good way to quickly finish this off. And of course, grabbing the Cane of Samaria right there.
Absolutely. Now Aaron, again, has more pieces, but without having the hook shot, he's going to be kind of limited in what he can find. However, look at it this way. Look at it this way. What if you find 4 Triforce pieces in Swamp Palace?
The problem here is Mr. Barry Bonds just picked up 2 extra Triforce pieces in Hookshot Cave that Aaron could not get to. They are back to being tied at 26, and Barry Bonds is going to be making that play through Turtle Rock, grabbing those 2 others, which is going to put him at 28.
Guys, we got a race on our hands. I mean, this is hype.
3 pieces of Turtle Rock, putting him at 29.
I'm on the edge of my seat right now. I don't know about you, but good Lord. I mean, the mathematical odds are bad, but he could find lots of pieces here in Swamp Palace. But again, Barry closing right on in. Also, Barry has the fire rod. We didn't check this part. Okay, let's stop real quick.
If there is a Triforce back there, Turtle Rock is game over. It's done.
There's a bottle, and there's a Dorito! There's a Dorito!
Mr. Barry Bonds going to be sealing this very shortly. It is almost over.
God, this is just wow. 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 I mean, I don't even know what to say right now. That is huge. That is so huge. Aaron, unfortunately, not knowing any better, he's still going to check those two left side chests. But even if he bails out of Swamp right now, he's not going to be able to catch up to Barry. Barry's got this. Oh, but there's another Dorito piece. I tell you what, he might not be too far behind Barry.
Problem here is Swamp Palace is going to need to contain 3 more in areas that he can actually reach for it to be of benefit, for him to have a chance at even doing this, which at this point, I don't see happening.
No, he's got only 2 more chests that he can check. Because he doesn't have the hook shot. He can't check the back half. Unless Barry skips something important here, which given the caliber of runner he is, he's not going to do. This is literally his to lose at this point. Oh, and on the other half, poor CrossProduct. That is a terrible dead rock placement. Those dead rocks are probably some of the trolliest enemies you will find in Rando.
And this is definitely one of the worst locations it could possibly be in without a hook shot available.
Just that spot right there, it's just log jamming you right at that particular area. You can't really sneak around it. And without the hookshot, Aaron has to actually make 2 trips up to the top floor to be able to check both these chests on this side. Folks, this is running down.
And if my eyes do not deceive me, I do believe CrossProduct has actually overtaken NumberPlay in terms of Triforce pieces gathered.
That is correct. Absolutely correct. 22 to NumberPlay's 21. Now, not to add a little extra suspense, but now look at Barry. He's down to 3.5, 4.5 hearts. He has blue mail. The stuff in Turtle Rock really hurts.
Oh, yeah. But at the same time, he's right here, and you know, getting that safety out back would be a smart move right now, considering he doesn't have half magic. But no, he's gonna. Ooh.
Oh, he's gonna go for it. Oh, Barry, be careful.
And he's gonna opt for the Cane of Burna.
Remember, magic usage-wise, this is the smarter one you want to go with. Oh, I hope he doesn't run out before he gets to that other chest. Oh,
but there it is.
And he does it!
Mr. Barry Bonds finishing in first place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 42 minutes, and 54 seconds. Barely finishing ahead of our second place finisher, ACMLM, with an official SRL time of 1:43:02. So congratulations to Mr. Barry Bonds for first place, and ACMLM, who just had to deal with that delightful seed before this, and finishing in second place. So
still pulling a solid second place finish, but congratulations to your champion, Mr. Barry Bonds. A very solid performance out of Barry, but now don't forget, we still have 3 runners we're watching here. Aaron at 27 out of 30. Number looks like he's got 23 out of 30. And Cross not too far behind at 22. NumberPlay going through Spike Cave. Hopefully, come on. Yep, he goes ahead. He'll use the safety item. He needs to hurry, though, so he doesn't die on those spikes. Oh, just barely pulling out, but only for 20 bucks. Very small reward for all that effort.
Aaron swinging back in. Going to grab the fire rod here in just a moment. And I believe Mr. Barry Bonds will be joining us shortly here for a little bit of an interview. Let us know what he thought of the seed.
Aaron going back to get that big chest, of course. We have Cross still down in Ice Palace, and Number is going to be making another climb up the mountain. Aaron, of course, going to be finding his fire rod, but not opting to finish Helmsar King. He'll miss out on his hookshot.
Ooh, that's going to hurt. I got Mr. Barry Bonds available here. He's going to swing right on in right now. Mr. Barry Bonds, congratulations on first place on the stream and first place overall. How you doing?
Not bad. How about you?
I'm pretty darn good. It's been quite a entertaining stream, to say the least. What'd you think of the seed?
This was actually probably one of the funnest Key Sanity races I've done, plus being Enemizer kind of made it funner too. And then Triforce on as well made it more fun.
Yeah, everything kind of stacked on top of each other made this. I mean, while it was not an incredibly long seed by any stretch, the way that you did it, still very entertaining.
Yeah, it was like one thing led to another. Like towards the end, it started to feel a little bit more linear.
Not gonna lie, I'm slightly disappointed we didn't get a forced dip into Ganon's tower to finish up the Triforces. But you getting into Turtle Rock, which AaronDobbe actually had done before you, them not having the fire rod, but you having it, able to check that other side, we knew when you went in the Turtle Rock that you were going to find at least the 3, which would have put you at 29. When you did that fire rod segment and got that one on that side, we knew that you were going to be finishing in Turtle Rock at that point, and it was, it was all over from there.
Was there one in Vanilla Big Key? Because I made a mistake. I miscounted my keys. I thought I didn't have enough, but I did. I had enough keys for the whole dungeon. So I skipped the Vanilla Big Key.
Actually, I believe it was rupees in the chest, if I remember correctly.
Okay, that's good. Honestly, I didn't even expect it to end right there, so I didn't dot done right away. As all of a sudden the screen just pops up. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that room was definitely the laser bridge hallway was definitely plentiful with the Triforces. Same with the hookshot cave. The thing is, you were the first and actually so far the only person to have the hookshot. Both AaronDobbe and, as we speak, currently NumberPlay, just opting to do the bonk to grab the first item. No one having actually gone and beaten Helmsar. So that was another big one for you to put you with a more sizable lead, was those 2 Triforce pieces from the hookshot cave.
Oh yeah, I kind of agreed with you. I thought it would end in GT, so it was kind of surprising that it ended already. And the reason why I went into Turtle Rock is at that point I had basically almost checked everything in the seed, so I figured the small key to get into Swamp Palace had to be in there. Either that, or it was the one on the lumberjack tree.
Now, I have a question for you, Barry. When you came out and then right before you headed back to Pod, what was driving your thinking at that point? What made you make that decision to go straight back to Palace of Darkness, knowing that there were only 2 places left to check in that place? What drove you to there?
I can't remember when I went to Pod. Did I go to Pod after doing Thieves Town? Or actually, was it after Ice Palace?
I believe it was after Ice Palace.
For some reason, I also thought I was able to clear it, because I forgot that you needed the bow to get into the room, so I'm sure you guys saw me, like, go towards that room and go, oh wait, I don't have the bow. So basically, all I wanted to do was get the dungeons over with. Because I figured it was going to end in GT, so you basically want to, you know, complete all your crystals. So it was kind of a fluke, because I was gonna go there anyways, but I wanted to go to Thieves Town first, but then I thought, oh, I can just clear Pod.
Yeah, and the thing is, the problem here is so far you were the only one with the mindset of the logic of clear the dungeons. Everyone else, and this is my logic usually in, you know, key sanity races, not key sanity, but the Triforce races, my apologies there. In Triforce races is, you know, don't worry about clearing the dungeons, just get as many chests as you can. Because it's not about beating the boss, it's about getting those pieces quickly. So everyone else has not really had the mentality of clearing out these dungeons, just get as many chests as they can, and then dip out of there. And sometimes that was to very negative results. In one case, CrossProduct, when they ran through Tower of Hera, missed the Moon Pearl, and didn't go back for it for quite some time.
Oh wow, that really hurts. Overall, the seed felt pretty nice, actually, especially for a key sanity. Like, we did the earlier daily today, and yeah, we had to go into Ice Palace to get the GT big key from the Ice Palace big key that we got in GT. So it was like this really troll seed. This one was like very friendly.
Now, Barry, coming off the heels of that last seed that you played in, did at any point in the seed did you feel not confident or behind the curve or nervous even? I mean, at any point did you feel like it was not going smoothly?
I actually felt like it was going pretty smooth because I was checking the overworld and I was finding the Triforce pieces in the overworld as well. So like my routing, I think there wasn't really many things that I left behind. I kind of like tied everything together nicely. So I didn't feel like I was going to be behind, but I did know ACM was in the race, so I figured, you know, he would either be ahead of me or it'd be close.
And of course, in this case, you beat ACM by a few seconds, actually.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of got the that kind of mentality where he will just, you know, clear. And he'll always go for like the chest per minute playstyle. See, the other thing too is I sequence broke the mirror, I believe. I can't remember. I sequence broke something, and then it led me to the lamp, so I knew that the flute had to be out there somewhere.
Yeah, you sequence broke Death Mountain. You went up with the old man, and you ended up getting the lantern from the Ether monument, which definitely proved to everyone that the flute had to be out there. So yeah, that was an interesting one. I'm not going to lie. At the beginning, I was wondering if you sequence breaking that was a good call, but it definitely showed, you know, exactly what to be expected in terms of certain items. So
it also, like, I was on my way to just clearing Aga. Like, I didn't really expect to find the flute or the hammer there. So the sequence break actually paid off pretty nice because I was able to get those 2 chests back to back and get the hammer and the flute.
yeah, I had completely kind of got the idea of the flute being anywhere but Zora, kind of out. Like, as soon as I saw where the lantern was, and just the sheer amount that everyone had already checked at that point, I was sitting there thinking, oh, the flute's got to be on Zora. And then I want to say CrossProduct or Aaron, one of the two, were the first to actually get the flute. But they just stopped at the flute because they didn't have the lantern. Someone else had actually been brave enough to do the dark room and go in there and grab the hammer as well.
Oh,
and
wow.
Of course, you didn't have to do the dark room.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the Aga Tower dark rooms. Like, going up the tower, I'm not familiar with doing those dark rooms. I think that's kind of like madness.
Yeah. I'm getting told here, Aaron was the first to get the flute, but CrossProduct was the first to get the hammer doing the dark room.
Wow, that's pretty impressive, actually. Basically, things just kind of tied together nicely at the end, too. Like, I wanted to tie off the loose ends, get the dungeons complete, and then I got the bow. So I went straight back to Pod. I didn't really expect to find the hookshot there. I thought maybe the hookshot would be on Death Mountain.
No, you definitely got lucky with the hookshot being on Helmasar there because, like I said, those extra pieces you got from the hookshot cave really made the difference in the end in getting you done quick. AaronDobbe here is still looking for 2 more Triforce pieces to finish it up. NumberPlay needing 5, and CrossProduct still needing 7.
Oh yeah, I got the stream open now. Aaron's pretty close. I didn't actually do Armos. Like, I went into the dark room, and I was like, this is madness, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Barry, and this may seem like a silly question, but I've always said that sequence breaks, while maybe not quite as powerful in original Rando, in Triforce Hunt become even more powerful. They can be extremely useful. How do you feel as far as the power of a sequence break in a game like this? Obviously, it paid off very well for you today, but just as a general rule, what do you think of as far as how powerful a sequence break can be?
Of course, it depends on the sequence break, but in a case like this, I feel that the sequence break was pretty powerful because it let me know that the flute was out there right away by finding the lamp. So they can definitely be powerful. It all depends on like what you sequence break, how you sequence break it, because sometimes they can actually confuse you. But like, let's say you find the lamp at like Hobo, or sorry, the mirror at Hobo. Well, then you know for a fact that the flippers can't be mirror locked.
Do you think it's fair to say that in a mode like this, where you're literally just checking as many chests as you can, being able to do a sequence break like Dark Death Mountain, or a place like that'll get you into a high concentration of chests, would you think it's a fair assumption to say that doing a sequence break like that does become more infinitely powerful?
Absolutely. Like, especially if you like, say you find the fire rod or something like that, and you can do dark rooms. You got your fire source, so you don't have to worry about looking for the lamp or trying to figure out where you think the logic placed it. So yeah, sequence breaks can definitely be powerful, especially in this game mode.
And looks like we got, by the way, Maximum Barnage in 3rd place with 1 hour, 57 minutes, and 1 second.
Where were silvers, by the way?
I do believe I missed that in all of the ruckus. I'm sure chat will remind me at this point where the silvers were.
Yes, Chad, help your ADD commentators out because we just completely lost it.
Well, there was a lot of stuff going on in this seed, that's for sure. There's a lot of back and forth.
Silvers were in the Swamp Palace first chest.
That is absolutely right.
See, I thought for sure that this would end in GT. I'm actually really surprised it didn't.
Apparently, Willard is surprised at that as well, and I think this was his seed that... He's like, wait a moment, I thought I made this GT required.
It's kind of funny. The thing is, like, in a seed like this, I mean, there's those... It's 30 out of 40. But yeah, I'm really surprised because the last one I did, we definitely had to go into GT.
And Number confirming for us that yes, those silver arrows were in the first chest. Aaron now 1 Dorito away from finishing his race. As soon as he gets the laser bridge, he's going to be good.
I wonder if there's any in Swamp.
Well, I don't believe we have. I believe we have not seen the back half of Swamp Palace yet. So we haven't seen Argus. We haven't seen any of those.
See, NumberPlay is going in there without the hook shot. Not a bad play. Like, I thought about almost when I would have made that same play, depending, like if I didn't find the hook shot.
Aaron made that same play as well, going in there without the hook shot, being unable to full clear that dungeon.
Yeah, like, that's what I mean. Tying off the loose ends definitely takes things off your mind as well. Like, I basically expected to find the cane on Death Mountain or the hook shot, one of those two, at that point, because I basically had cleared everything. Misery Mire. And when, like, you leave things open, then you're kind of, like, zigzagging, and then Key Sanity can get really confusing.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, a run like this one, while it definitely had its more intense segments, you could also argue that this one, as you said earlier, was fairly linear towards the end and fairly relaxing. Probably for some of the racers in this run, whom were also in the last race we had, probably a nice change of pace, to be fair.
Oh yeah, that race did not look like fun.
Number actually finding one of the other Triforce pieces that puts him at 28 out of 32 to go, only one behind Aaron. But as soon as Aaron gets down to Laser Bridge, this is all she wrote. Although, looks like he's actually going to do Trinex.
Question is, does Trinex hold a Triforce?
Okay, so CrossProduct and NumberPlay both did Aghanim. What did they get out of that? Like, what was the key on Lumberjack Tree? Do you guys remember?
That was a pod key.
Okay, so that's kind of funny. So knowing the hammer jump really helps.
Yeah,
knowing the hammer jump meant that Ag 1 was not required.
Yeah, I was really hoping that I'd be able to skip that key. But it was on the back of my mind.
And just the compass for Ganon's Tower on good old Trinex.
We know where it is, but we'll never see it.
The hookshot really being the bane for a lot of these runners right now, and I'm sure a lot of the runners not being featured, because do keep in mind, while we do have the 4 here, there is actually, I do believe, 20 racers. I'll have to double check my exact math there, but there's definitely more than just these 4 running it, and I'm sure the hookshot is going to be a bane of a lot of these people in that regard, because remember, there's those 2 Triforce pieces in Hookshot Cave, and that may in fact be what's holding both NumberPlay and AaronDobbe back at this point in time.
Obviously, Barry, you went down to check Helmasaur. What was going through your mind on that particular gambit? I mean, it's one item that you're looking to check. What's going through your mind as you're heading down to Helmasaur?
Basically, like I said, I had pretty much checked everything, right? So I didn't have access to what did I say? I didn't have access to Swamp Palace yet because I didn't have a small key. So it was either do Aga or go to Death Mountain without the hook shot and have a potential for 3 chests. So with maybe like 5 locations left that I had, there's a good chance that they could be anywhere. So it was worth basically getting the crystals done, because I did expect to go into GT as well. So, and I knew Pod was required because I knew Turtle Rock was pendant, and I knew Eastern Palace was pendant.
It's definitely a good call to make, and definitely is what got you such a nice low time there. Speaking of times, we've got Tear finishing in 4th place with the time, official SRL time of 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 34 seconds. congratulations on that. And to Tear, I just say, okay.
Okay.
If you're listening in, Tear, very good time on you, man.
So we're about to see the Misery Mire on AaronDobbe. So this is what I was curious about too, because this would have been one of my plays, but I figured, you know, Turtle Rock, more items.
Indeed, if Vinny hasn't Triforce piece, Aaron could be our 5th place finisher.
And actually, the funny part here is, had Aaron also completed Desert Palace and ped checked like Cross did, I know exactly where Aaron would be going right now, because they've already got EP and Turtle Rock finished. Ped is a Triforce piece, and that would be the last one he would need.
I don't remember, was Lamola a Triforce piece?
I don't believe it was. I'm having a hard time remembering that. This would actually be my first Key Sanity that I've commentated for, and that's gotten me a little bit confused in the head trying to keep track of 4 people in that regard. I've been making mistakes all night. Chat can tell you about it, believe you me.
We're finding out, Barnage actually telling us that Lanmolas was indeed a Triforce piece.
Yeah, so even if Aaron went to go clear Desert Palace right now to attempt a ped pull, they'd win anyway, by default.
I wonder if he'll do that, because he's right in the area.
Looks like he is. So with that, oh, nope. Taking a whistle. Definitely appears that this seed was throwing some people off in terms of finding all 30, because we're still just at 4 people finishing at this point in time.
In Key Sanity races, a lot of it comes down to your routing and trying to have like the most efficient routing that you can have. And it's kind of hard to do it in Key Sanity because you're getting keys all over the place. But as long as you like check them off and do as much as you can.
Looks like Aaron deciding to go finish off Ag, so he can, I guess, check the Lumberjack Cave. I can't remember if Aaron specifically checked the Lumberjack Cave and realizes it's a key or not.
I'm not sure, but a very interesting play out of him. I don't know that this is necessarily a high percentage play either, but again, maybe he's banking on the fact that that key is something he needs. And
he's key locked.
Yep, Faram actually pointing out that unless you know how to hammer jump, this is required to fully clear pods. So, logically speaking, you have to kill Aga to get all the way down to get hookshot.
That is correct. And to be fair at this point, I'm pretty sure I can go at least a few days now without hearing the words pod and key locked in the same sentence for a little while.
I thought we agreed not to talk about that. I mean, yes. But yes, you know that in all seriousness, you know that has to be on the minds of a lot of these runners now. And definitely will cause a lot of people to think twice about their routing in Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, I mean, especially given everywhere that has been checked so far by these runners, you have to start thinking, you know, what have I missed? What's not been checked? What do I still have access to? And that number gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and you become more and more frantic the more you do check and you don't find anything. it gets to those points to where you're sitting there going, okay, I've literally got 2 items left before I'm out of options. And you check one of them, and it's not what you need. And you realize at this point, good Lord, how far behind am I now? And so it becomes stressful. You start making mistakes. You get inside your own head. It can be a really bad thing sometimes. That's happened to me numerous times.
Now, it looks like Cross is actually going to be making the pod play here, so we could very well see him finish ahead of both of these runners, depending on how fast he can get down there, get the hook shot, and if he decides to make that play for Hookshot Cave.
This is true. Cross is at 28, so this could be quite an upset. Cross was quite a bit behind there for a little bit due to missing out on that Moon Pearl. So being able to jump ahead quickly just from grabbing the hook shot would be a major thing.
Now, Zombie, you have the IRC pulled up. How are we doing as far as people that have finished? What is our most recent finisher?
Most recent is still Tear with the 2234 in 4th place. So we still do not have a 5th place finisher. All 3 of our remaining featured racers here today still have a very solid chance of being top 10, considering how close they are.
Barry, I actually have another question for you. It's slightly related to Rando, but not so much. Now, anybody that's watched you understands you're a top tier runner. You're very well versed in Rando. We'll have a lot of people out there that are watching this and they're thinking, God, should I even get in this? This looks tough. If you were talking to somebody that was new to Rando, what advice would you give them? What would you tell them about wanting to get in on some of this?
I would tell them that if they enjoy it, like if they like watching it, then they probably like Rando, and they probably should get into it, and don't really be so worried about winning and losing. And of course, the execution factor definitely comes later on. This game does take a lot of practice. There's a lot of things you need to learn, but in the races, there's all kinds of skill level too. Like in these daily races and the weekly races, it's not just absolute top runners in there all the time. Like there's people of all skill levels. So I would definitely recommend that you just get into it. Maybe check out some of the videos on YouTube. Like GamerCal has some tutorials as well. But just don't be afraid to, get into it and play. I mean, we all start off and we're not like super great at the game. Like when I first started, half the time I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just going around checking chests, the routing, super zigzaggy, like all those things come in time.
Most certainly, it's definitely practice. I remember my first run being over 4 hours long. And this was after me watching several runs and trying to, get that mindset in of where I need to go, what do I need to do, and I just kept on at it. I didn't let slow times deter me, and pushing forward. I'm doing a lot better now. I'm definitely nowhere near your tier, but I am pleased with my progress, and I'm still enjoying what I'm doing. I don't need to have an incredibly fast time to enjoy what I'm doing here. It's still a lot of fun.
Absolutely, and it's not always about winning and losing. Like some people, I think, take the game extremely serious. But at the end of the day, it's a video game. It's randomized. Like we can't always predict logic. We can try to make the best decisions with what the seed's giving us, but it's not always like cut and dry. Like there's a lot of luck involved too.
Well, and as I said earlier, just on my own personal experiences with the community, it's a very constructive community. You know, everybody I've talked to has always been super helpful. I mean, just a great community to be a part of. So I'm like you, I encourage anybody to get in and just run this and just see how you do. And, you know, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to, you know, it's like you were saying, Barry, you don't have to be good at this game to enjoy it. And you will get better with time. But on a separate note, looking at Cross's stream, he did not complete Helmosaur. Now, he'll still be able to finish Turtle Rock and be able to get his last Triforce pieces, but he's not going to be able to do it with the hookshot.
So that leads me to something really interesting here. Is he going to make it to Laser Bridge to finish this up? Well, actually, no, he'll be getting this, and then the next Triforce piece was where? Where was the second Triforce piece in Turtle Rock? I'm not remembering. Because I know the last two were on Laser Bridge.
It was the chest that he just opened, and the other two were on Laser Bridge. I'm actually surprised that. I'm surprised that there were so many in Turtle Rock. Turtle Rock was definitely a good play.
Yeah. So will he make it to Laser Bridge before Aaron takes that hookshot and makes it to the hookshot cave, or will Aaron make the call to go to Swamp Palace instead?
It's going to be a very close race for 5th, assuming we haven't had a 5th place runner already.
We have actually had a 5th place finisher, and that is going to be Zyrak with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 31 seconds. That obviously being in the future if we're looking at the timers on screen. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. This whole thing is strange. But yes, that would be Zyrak in 5th, and Chloe Prower finishing in 6th place with 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 14 seconds.
We're going to have a play for 7th, it looks like. Now, if Aaron goes to check Hookshot Cave, I do think he has the slight time edge on Cross. But again, you know, maybe Aaron's going to think, oh, I'm going to check Super Bunny Cave first. So again, I think anything could happen.
And while we're waiting on that, so earlier, Mr. Bear Bonds, you did make the trip up Death Mountain in the dark initially with the Old Man Cave. You never did, of course, ever need to go back into that cave after you got the lantern. I'm sure you did notice on your trip through you were probably taking an ungodly amount of damage. Funny thing about that Old Man Cave was full of rollers.
Oh, wow.
So the fact you made that through alive was very interesting.
Yeah, I got through pretty easy. I almost actually died to, like, enemies.
Boys,
like, outside.
Not to cut you off, but it's going to be close. It's going to be really close. Oh, no, Cross is going to go check Trinex. He's not going to go down to Laser Bridge. He's going to try Trinex instead.
I think he's already been in there, hasn't he?
No, Cross has not been to Laser Bridge, I don't believe.
I'm really surprised that he would go to Trinex over Laser.
But there's AaronDobbe with the finish. He'll take 7th place with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 58 seconds. So congratulations to AaronDobbe.
Absolutely, still a very solid time in this.
I'm going to see if Aaron wants to come in and say hello to us as well, while CrossProduct fights that very interestingly skinned Trinex.
That Trinex looks pretty cool.
All of the boss resprites in this were just flat out hilarious. Of course, you know, Armos Knights being a bunch of thwomps being one of my favorites. But Aaron's ready. Let's go ahead and pull them in, see what they thought of the seed. Aaron, congratulations
Good
on
game, Aaron.
7th place.
Hey, thank you. GG.
So, what'd you think?
Wow. In hindsight, it all makes sense. You play Key Sanity and Triforce together, and there are a whole bunch more locations in Ganon's Tower that can have Triforce pieces, so it's going to be impossible to find them elsewhere.
And I'm just getting a heads up that Cross actually did already do the Laser Bridge, so he's just missing the one which now he realizes is the pedestal. So he's heading for a ped pull. Get hype. We're going to get a ped pull.
We're going to get a good ped pull.
Have we seen anyone check it yet?
Yeah, cross-checked it. It is a Triforce piece.
Ah, I see. That's interesting.
Be a heck of a way to finish up his run. But yeah, that was quite an entertaining seed. I loved watching every minute of it. You guys did awesome.
Oh man, I loved playing this seed. This was a lot of fun. I wasn't expecting it to be so involved or take this long, but again, in hindsight, totally makes sense.
Yeah, the big key keeping everyone from finishing at a much quicker pace was that hook shot. It seems that the hook shot was pretty much required to get the 30.
Yeah, it definitely
prior
was.
to going into to GT, of course, with the exception of it seems to be CrossProduct opting to do the ped pull to get his 30th.
Yeah, you couldn't even get to Ganon's Tower without the hook shot because Swamp Palace was a crystal.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And CrossProduct finishing in 8th place with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 20 seconds.
And Number just 2 pieces away from finishing his run.
And it's kind of interesting to see the gap here. We had the first 2 finishes, one right after the other, and then I think 3rd through 4th were pretty close, and then 6th, 7th, and 8th were all within a minute.
So overall, what do you feel was your best move in this run, and what do you feel is maybe your biggest misstep in this run?
Best move, probably stealing the desert key to get a free Triforce piece. That helped a lot, I think. And worst move, I don't know. It's a toss-up between spending the extra key in a pod or leaving Aghanim for so long. But those 2 moves are kind of related in the end.
And of course, with Cross finishing up, we have him in the waiting room, so we're going to pull him in and get his thoughts on this seed. So here, just in a minute, we'll have him join the conversation as well. Cross, welcome in, man.
I don't want to talk about it. It's fun.
That was definitely a bit more interesting than what it seemed like it was going to be. You were actually the only person to have finished this with a ped pull.
Really?
Yep.
Everyone else had to get the hook shot off of the Helmasaur King in order to finish up their numbers.
That's funny. I forgot that I actually needed Bo. I was like, oh, it's Randomizer. I don't need Bo to finish pod. Oh, I need Bo to finish pod. I felt really good after the early Aga 1 play and got the flute and got the hammer out of the dark room. But then I ended up going back in there anyway. So when I saw that key in the lumberjack hut, the absolute worst thing I thought this could be was a small key to desert. I was like, it's a small key to desert. I knew I should have taken the key and gone back and gotten the 2 chests instead of killing Landmola. And then I picked it up and it was Palace of Darkness key. I'm like, that doesn't open anything. So and I figured, well, I must have forgotten a chest in a dungeon. You know what it was? I was in that big chest room in Tower of Hera, and I was low on health, and I was like, there's another small heart in this room somewhere, and I was searching around for that small heart, and I forgot to open the chest. So, GG.
Now, Cross, I have to ask you this, and I almost hate to ask you this, and I think you know what I'm getting ready to ask. The Moon Pearl. When you doubled back to Hera and got it, what was going through your mind when you pulled it?
I already knew it was going to be there on the way. I wasn't that devastated when I got it. Really, the devastating moment was when I got the pod big key, and I was just like, well, I knew I messed up big time. But the actual getting the Moon Pearl, I was like, all right, I'm back on track at least.
Well, I will say, for missing it that early, you fought back and pulled an amazing time, in my opinion. So, like I said, a very good game to you, sir. Very well played.
Oh, yeah, it was. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of worrying how much of a deficit you ended up having after finding that Moon Pearl. I was definitely worried at that point, but I'm always the type that roots for the underdog, and I'm really happy to see you still pull top 10.
That's why I did it. I'm just kidding. Did I get a top 10? Yeah, a lot of people were dropping out, and I was kind of surprised. I didn't think that. I thought the hardest thing about the seed was getting the flute out of AGA 1, and I think as long as you did that, then it was pretty simple from that point on. Unless you did what I did, and don't think anyone else did what I did.
Yeah, and at this point, the latest finish we have is a 9th place finish with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 46 seconds. Captain Neil, congratulations to you on that one. And so if NumberPlay acts quickly here and does their ped pull, they can be number 10, finishing up the top 10.
Has he already checked Laser Bridge?
They have the red boomerang, so I want to say yes.
Okay. So, yep, it'll be just how quick he can get down there.
You know what I was afraid of? I was afraid Trinex was going to drop a Dorito chip, and I wouldn't get to pull the pedestal.
You got to have priorities.
That pull's important.
Looks like NumberPlay is going to go for the pedestal pull, wrapping this up and finishing us off. So yeah, Cross, what do you feel was probably your best play out of this? Like your favorite moment in the seed?
Oh, my favorite moment was definitely getting flute and hammer immediately in AGA Tower.
You were actually our first person to get the hammer. You went in blind as a bat for that hammer, and you were the first person to get it.
Yeah, I figured I had one key. I can get 2 items here. I pulled a map up. I cheated a little bit. Not really cheating. It's allowed, but...
At least you're honest there. And congratulations to NumberPlay with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 26 minutes, and 33 seconds. 10th place for NumberPlay.
So how about that? Our 4 featured runners, and every one of them a top 10 finish. That's a very good amount of talent on display here. Good game to all of you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for commentating, guys. And whoever was doing the tracking, these guys, it's not easy to get in there and follow 4 runners and try to keep the train rolling for 2 hours straight. I really admire you guys for doing it for us.
It's definitely difficult, but so is making these plays this entertaining. So for that, I want to say thank you to Mr. Barry Bonds, AaronDobbe, CrossProduct, and NumberPlay, who I'm going to see if I can get in here in just a moment for an interview as well. Everyone out there watching this, these guys were amazing tonight. Go to their channels, give them a follow, and they're very entertaining runners, very, very talented runners. So,
yes, absolutely give every single one of these guys a follow. They
Do I hear
absolutely
Link's
deserve
Awakening music playing? Never mind. I thought I heard. I'm sorry. I got distracted.
Are you kidding? Distracting has been kind of the highlight of the commentary for me and Zombie.
Yeah, we've been kind of a little bit crazy, but no, I do believe that was actually someone in my background in Meat Space actually turning on one of the old NES Final Fantasy games. So I'm very, very sorry about that.
And we have NumberPlay in the waiting room, so yeah, let's see if we can get them in here and get their thoughts on this scene.
Absolutely.
Number, good game, dude. Very well played. Good game.
Yeah. Oh my god, that seed.
Sadly, you were not the first pedestal pull, but a very heck of a way to finish the seed. I mean, just talk to us. What do you think about that?
Oh, I ended up getting all last place, location, 4 items, progression. You saw me at the big chest in Palace of Darkness. I knew that was the item I needed because that was literally the last place I needed to check.
Let's see, the funny thing was, I mean, you had the bow. Had you gone down to maybe just give Helmasar King a little bit of a visit there, you would have found the hook shot. And in the hook shot cave, there were 2 other Triforce pieces. That is definitely one of the ways that some of the top finishers got a quick clear. But you got to give it to you for going with style and going with the ped pull for the finish. So congratulations on that.
It was either that or doing Helmasar King, so I look for the pedestal and glad it was a nice finish.
Oh, very entertaining.
Yes, style points definitely for the ped pull to win.
So pretty much asked all the other runners as well. What would you say was your best? What you feel was your best move on this run, and what do you feel was probably your biggest misstep, perhaps?
My best move, I say, it's difficult to say, but the fake flippers to get the cape at the hobo up helping me at some places was pretty great. And for the most is getting Fire Rod at last location.
This was certainly an entertaining seed, and the fact that it's taken so many people this long to finish it, we were kind of worried with Mr. Barry Bonds coming in first with the 1 hour 42 minutes that this will be a bit of a quicker seed, but we were quickly proved wrong on that one.
So I figure with the hookshot, people did Swamp Palace.
Actually, we never did get to see the back end of Swamp Palace now.
No, we never saw the back half of it. It was all the front half.
But I do believe that is going to draw us a little bit closer to a close tonight. We got our 4 featured racers finishing up. It was such an amazing job, such an entertaining race from all 4 of you guys. Once again, thank you. Once again, chat, please give these runners a follow. They deserve it. Definitely entertaining to watch. Once again, I want to give a huge shout out to 2 of the people behind the scenes. They don't get to talk. They don't get to get it out there and get seen like the runners or like the commentators, but their job is every bit as important, if not more so. That is our trackers for the night, which were Flaffykins and Glacial. Shoot them a follow, please. Like, let's get links to their Twitches on here. Give them a follow. They're great people as well. Hardworking for sure. And then, of course, I want to thank very much my co-host Jaxus, who probably helped me hold this together a lot better than what I thought it was going to be.
We kept it on the rails somehow, man. But no, this was a blast of a seed to commentate. I mean, we had awesome talent on hand. And again, like you said, shout outs to our trackers in the background, helping to make our jobs a lot easier. And shout outs to you in chat, also helping make this a group effort to keep us on the rails. One more big shout out to everybody that donated, that subscribed. It is your contributions that help us to keep providing these races to you. So thank you very much for everything that you do. You guys are all freaking awesome. And one more time, if you are new to Randomizer, or if this just looks like it'd be a blast and you just want to get in and have fun, that's what we are doing all month long. We're going to be running these daily races. It's always going to be something different. There'll always be one key sanity, one open, and one mode just like tonight's that is decided on by the community. So if this looks like some fun and you want to jump in and see how you can do, I strongly urge anybody that wants to give this a try, wade right in, give it a shot, and we may very well be featuring you on one of our nightly streams.
Absolutely. And speaking of our future streams, just a quick announcement for everyone. Tomorrow, we are going to be having at the 2 p.m. slot a standard all dungeons run. At 8 p.m. is going to be another key sanity, and at 11 p.m. an open. So that's what our dailies are going to be for tomorrow. For the schedule at large, of course, the first daily looks like it's going to be scheduled, like I said, at 2 p.m. on Speed Gaming 2. The 5 p.m. slot, according to this schedule, is going to be a Chrono Trigger showcase race on Speed Gaming 2. Mega Man X on Speed Gaming 1 at 7. Pokemon Crystal Cinco Bingo on Speed Gaming 1 at 3. Mega Man X on Speed Gaming 3 at 3 p.m. as well. Of course, the Rando on Speed Gaming 2 at 8. So there's quite a bit going on. And, of course, you can find that schedule linked in the channel as well. So we got a lot of stuff between Speed Gaming 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. Eventually, we're going to get a Speed Gaming the Ocho. I don't know. That's not real. That's just a big joke that goes around. Memes.
It might be real one day. You never know.
But thank you all again. Give our trackers a follow. Definitely give our runners a follow. Give Jaxus a follow. Everyone worked hard tonight, and it was quite entertaining. Thanks again, everybody. And Jaxus, you want to have the final words for the night?
Well, please keep your tray tables in the upright and locked position as the plane comes to a stop at the gate terminal. We hope you have enjoyed flying Swag Duck Airlines. This is Jaxus, your flight attendant, alongside your fellow flight attendant, Zombie Twitch. We'll see you guys on the next flight. Y'all have a very nice evening.
All right. Good night, everybody.